The moment the flight attendant's voice cut through the cabin, the entire plane went silent. "Sit back properly, young man," she barked. The sharpness in her tone sent a jolt through the passengers, turning heads toward the young boy who had just been scolded. His wide, innocent eyes filled with fear as he shrank into his seat. His mother, blindsided by the sudden hostility, opened her mouth to respond. But before she could, something happened that no one on board could have expected. Minutes later, the flight attendant stood frozen, her face draining of color, as she was publicly fired right in front of everyone. But what led to this shocking moment? Stay with us as we unravel this unbelievable story of injustice, power, and unexpected consequences. The airplane cabin buzzed with the usual pre-flight activity. Passengers shuffling down the aisles, overhead bins being slammed shut, and murmured conversations filling the air. Among the travelers was a young boy named Jaden, his eyes wide with excitement as he pressed his forehead against the cool window. "Mom, look, I can see all the tiny cars," he giggled, gripping the armrest with his small fingers. His mother, Danielle, smiled warmly at him, adjusting her seatbelt. This trip was everything she had worked for. A single mother balancing two jobs, she had saved for months to take her son on his first vacation. She wanted to give him memories he would cherish forever. Jaden, dressed neatly in his favorite Spider-Man hoodie, kept his backpack close to his chest. Inside were his carefully chosen treasures for the journey: a few snacks, a coloring book, and a small toy airplane. This flight was a big deal for him, a dream come true. But dreams can turn into nightmares in an instant. As Jaden leaned slightly into the aisle to get a better view of the bustling cabin, a flight attendant stormed past. Her name was Barbara Hayes, and she had a reputation for being strict, maybe even too strict. In her early 50s, she carried herself with an air of rigid authority, her uniform pristine, her graying blonde hair pulled into a severe bun. When she spotted Jaden leaning out, her expression hardened. Without hesitation, she snapped, "Sit back properly, young man." Her voice was loud, cutting through the cabin like a whip. Conversations halted. Passengers turned their heads. Jaden flinched, his face instantly losing its joy. His mother immediately placed a protective hand on his shoulder. "I'm sorry, ma'am," Danielle said, her voice calm but firm. "He's just excited. It's his first time flying." Barbara's lips pressed into a thin line. "This isn't a playground," she snapped, loud enough for the entire row to hear. A few murmurs rippled through the passengers. A man a few seats away shook his head in disbelief. A woman across the aisle looked at Danielle with sympathy. Danielle felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. This was supposed to be a special moment for her son, and now it was being tarnished. "It won't happen again," she said, keeping her composure. Barbara gave her a lingering, disapproving look before storming off, muttering something under her breath. Jaden's eyes brimmed with tears. "Mommy, was I bad?" he whispered. Danielle's heart shattered. "No, baby, you did nothing wrong." But someone else had noticed the entire exchange, and he wasn't just any passenger. Sitting in first class was Malcolm Wright, an executive with the airline, a reserved but sharp-eyed man in his late 40s. He had been reviewing documents on his tablet when the flight attendant's harsh voice made him look up. His eyes followed the interaction, his jaw tightening as he took in the flight attendant's body language, her tone, the reaction from nearby passengers. Something about it unsettled him. This wasn't just about enforcing the rules. There was something else at play, something that didn't sit right with him. And Malcolm Wright wasn't the type to let things slide. As the flight continued, Malcolm observed Barbara interacting with other passengers. He noticed a pattern. She was curt, dismissive, and impatient with certain travelers, while being overly accommodating to others. This confirmed his suspicions. When the flight landed, Malcolm immediately took action. As passengers began disembarking, he requested security personnel and the HR department to meet him at the gate. Barbara, still oblivious to the storm about to hit her, was gathering her belongings when Malcolm approached her. "Barbara, a word please," he said firmly. She turned, surprised by his authoritative tone. "Yes, sir." Malcolm's voice was steady but unyielding. "We have received multiple complaints about your behavior on this flight. This is not the first time. I reviewed your record. There have been several incidents of unprofessional conduct. Today was the last straw." Barbara's face went pale. "I was just enforcing rules." "You were singling out a child and his mother unfairly," Malcolm interrupted. "This airline values professionalism and respect. Your actions today were unacceptable. Effective immediately, your employment is terminated." Passengers who had overheard the conversation gasped in shock. Whispers spread rapidly. Danielle, still holding Jaden's hand, felt a wave of relief wash over her. Barbara opened her mouth, but no words came out. Security escorted her away, leaving the passengers stunned. Malcolm turned to Danielle and Jaden. "On behalf of the airline, I deeply apologize for what happened today. We should have done better." Danielle nodded, appreciating the gesture. "Thank you for standing up for us." Jaden, still holding his toy airplane, looked up at Malcolm. "Are you the boss?" Malcolm chuckled. "Something like that." With that, Danielle and Jaden walked out of the terminal, finally able to enjoy their trip without the weight of injustice hanging over them. This story is a reminder that silence allows injustice to continue. Standing up against unfair treatment can create change, even in the smallest moments. If you believe in fairness, kindness, and holding people accountable, share this story. Let's make sure every voice is heard, no matter how small. Would you have spoken up if you were on this flight? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one.